Interesting. Kauffman Stadium swallowed up a ball in the padding last month. Worth another look. Billy Butler hit a double on Wednesday, or wait a minute, is there another railing in left field? There is, and it was a home run, a walk-off home run. Strange. Eric Hosmer's drive last night also was lost in the wall and ruled a double. What crazy play or face will we see tonight? Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. The plays might be strange, but the swings are not. And Billy Butler and Eric Hosmer have combined for 16 hits on this homestand. The Royals will try to ride that tonight in Game 3 with the Minnesota Twins. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Now, we knew Eric Hosmer was good, but he only played 1 month above Double-A. Here he is now in the big leagues. He is batting third, and he is producing.
Well, Ryan, Eric Hosmer came in here with a lot of confidence. I mean, he dominated in AAA. When he came in here, he got off to a great start, and his average didn't really climb right away. But when he started utilizing the entire field, then everything started to work well for him. So he's solidified the number 3 spot for the Royals.
And now Billy Butler's line drives are starting to fall, and he is batting over 300.
But when you want to win games and when you want to move up in the standings, you got to have a strong middle. And with Hosmer and Billy in the middle like that, and the way they're swinging the bats, then I think it won't be long before this team starts turning things around.
Number 13 has been a lucky number for Eric Hosmer and Billy Butler. Over the last 13 games, Hosmer has driven in 10. Butler's hitting .367, but the Royals aren't winning many games.
Well, they're not winning games, Ryan, because they're not getting a big hit. You're getting men out on the bases, but somebody's got to drive them in. And until that happens, they're going to continue to play games like this.
It'll be Luke Hochevar to the mound tonight, the Royals' #1 pitcher, their stopper, trying to stop a losing streak, and he has not won since his last start against the Minnesota Twins. We'll talk more about tonight's game when we come back. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Another good night on defense for the Royals last night. Brian Pena made a great play at the plate, and that might take some of the sting out of the game on Sunday.
Well, if you believe in redemption, Brian Pena definitely got that last night. And he was determined he wasn't going to move, and he stayed there, and he was a big force on this play against Denard Span.
Span sliding into his glove, but he still hung on to the ball. No changes in the outfield tonight for the Royals. Mike Aviles will be at third base. No Wilson Betemit tonight. And it will be Matt Trainer behind the plate for Luke Hochevar. And the Royals really need some innings, and they've been getting innings from Hochevar.
Well, he has been good. He's been good quality for most of this season, but it's always that one inning where he can't stop the bleeding. But he's going to have to come out tonight and eliminate that, get deep in the game, and help his bullpen and give himself a chance to win a ball game.
The lineup he will face, presented by Southwest Airlines. Justin Morneau is not in the lineup tonight, so Danny Valencia becomes the sixth different twin to bat cleanup. Denard Span was a late scratch with neck spasms, so he will not lead off. It'll be Ben Revere in center field and leading off. So an opportunity for him with his speed. He will play center field, and he will bat first for the Minnesota Twins tonight against Luke Hochevar and the Royals. And the first pitch is coming up next. It is Mizzou night at Kauffman Stadium, and there's Truman. He'll be running around with Slugger tonight. Several student athletes from the University of Missouri are here, and we are ready to go. Royals baseball comes to you in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. Ben Revere was ready to go, and kudos to our umpiring crew. Second base umpire Mike Winters is the crew chief, and right now home plate umpire Chris Guccione is making sure that we start on time. So we will give credit where credit is due. There's Mike Winters, and the 6:10 game starts at 6:10. How about that? A strike from Luke Hochevar to Ben Revere. So Denard Span out with neck spasms. That was about an hour or so before the first pitch. And Ben Revere, who is going to bat 6 tonight, gets a chance to lead off, gets a chance to play center field. Up the middle, gets, throws out Revere. Another warm day in Kansas City, up into the 90s, and we're still in the 90s. 92 at first pitch. We started at 6:10, and the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. Let's go out to left field and welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, that eventual Eric Hosmer ground rule double happened right here, and I talked to crew chief Mike Winters today, and what he saw was that fan reaching over, and so that's why he thought maybe it was fan interference, as we were saying last night. When he went back, saw that video, realized that the fan actually never did end up touching that ball. Ends up being lodged just as we expected, but video ended up confirming that as we see the double here for AT KCA. But one other thing, guys, to add to that, and Mike Winters was telling Jeff Montgomery and I this, is that if that fan did reach over and interfere with that ball, again, he didn't interfere with it, didn't touch it until after it was lodged. If he reaches over and interferes with that ball, then it is up to Mike Winters and his crew to determine where everybody involved in the play will be along the base pass. But because that ball was lodged, it's dead, automatic ground rule double. Good explanation from the umpires today, and I'll pass on to Chris Guccione that we appreciate his starting the game on time, guys.
Absolutely. A strike with a curveball to Michael Kadire. Here's the play that Joel was talking about. There was no fan interference. The fan was reaching over but did not make contact. So you can understand why the fan thought the play was dead. The ball's just sitting there on that ledge.
And there's a little room in there, too. I mean, you could see where it could wedge in certain spots here. I mean, they're definitely, it's not a lot of room, but there are spots where it could wedge. I guess no different than that ball that Mike Aviles hit that was wedged underneath down on the ground earlier in the year against Adam Jones.
Fouled away by Kadire. Well, this is year number 3 now of new Kauffman Stadium with everything the way it is right now, and I got to be honest, I wasn't aware of that ledge and the space where Joel is right now. There, you got that railing in front of you, Joel, which is protecting, trying to protect against. Get out of their way, by the way.
Got some fries and a cheeseburger. Might be able to have some. No, you can have it. It's okay. She suddenly thought she was about to lose the food that she just paid for.
But until the Billy Butler home run on Wednesday, I have to admit I was not aware that there was a second railing, which Joel has his right hand on right now.
Right, and again, it's worth pointing out, just since we're here, this is the home run railing right here out here. It's got to get over here, and if it gets over here, it's a home run. This railing doesn't mean anything back here as far as home runs go. We've got that moat that we talked about right here, which is actually covering up some of the electronics of the scoreboard.
All right, thank you, Joel. Kadire grounds out to Escobar on the play. KCA moves up to third base, and there are 2 down in the first inning. So Luke Hochevar, he has not won since May the 1st. That was 6 starts ago, and he beat Minnesota. Gave up 3 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings. The Twins had base runners all over the place that night, but Luke pitched very well with men on base. And a runner at third with 2 outs, and ball 1 to Danny Valencia.
Well, the one thing that Luke needs to just keep improving on is getting through the games with minimal damage, getting through the inning with minimal damage. And if he can stay away from that inning where he gives up 4 or 5 runs, then he usually gets through pretty good. And he's been amazing. He can be good up until that 1 inning, be bad during that 1 inning, and then be good after that 1 inning. So just being able to just be more consistent from inning to inning, I think that's the next step.
And when those innings come, because they come to the best, how quickly can you get into damage control mode?
Right, I agree.
So Valencia becomes the 6th Minnesota Twin to bat 4th this year. An important part of any team's lineup. You don't want to have that much movement in your number 4 spot or your 3 spot or your 5 spot, but Ron Gardenhire has had no other choice. There are 8 Minnesota Twins on the disabled list right now. 13 have gone to the DL this year at some point. That's the second most in the major leagues. The Los Angeles Dodgers have sent 16 to the DL. And no surprise, the Dodgers are having a bad year.
Well, that really happens when you don't have your main guys in the lineup. But at the same time, there's an opportunity for someone else to step up. And And Ron Gardenhire was saying, look, we can't complain about who we don't have. We got to play these games, so somebody else has to step up.
That pitch looked like it was in a good spot as far as Fox tracks, and Valencia did more than take a couple steps. He discarded the bat. And if it's close on this 3-2 pitch, he better be swinging.
Well, that's true, and he showed that right-handed sliders usually give him a little bit of trouble.
Back to Hochevar. So the one-out double is harmless. The Royals are coming up when we come back. And here's how the Royals are lined up tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines. Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, Jeff Francoeur, Billy Butler, Mike Aviles will be at third base tonight. And Chris Getz, Matt Trainer, and Alcides Escobar. Facing right-hander Nick Blackburn for the first time this year.
Well, Blackburn's really his strength is keeping the ball down. Sinking fastball, good changeup, and good slider. But if you see the Royals elevating tonight, then they got a chance against Nick Blackburn. He's a guy that keeps the ball down and on the ground.
He is pitching well at the moment. An ERA of about 2.5 in his last 6. Against the Royals, however, he had an 11.85 ERA against KC last year. He has not beaten the Royals in his last 7 starts. And his earned run average over that stretch is almost 7.5. The Royals should be feeling pretty good as they dig in there tonight. Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, and Eric Hosmer. Three hits for Alex in the first 2 games. He has driven in a run, which gives him 8 against the Twins this year. 8 of his 31. And a base hit.
I mean, Alex Gordon really impresses me more and more every night, and he just looks like such a different hitter than he did last year. Swings a lot shorter, doesn't try to roll up on the ball, stays right through this pitch. Hard line drive in the center field. Nice, easy hands, not a lot of body. So he's been able to make that separation between body and hands.
You know, Frank, watching that pitch too, it ended up out over the plate, but it had a lot of movement, and Alex really had to stay with it. Blackburn will throw out Melky Cabrera. It'll be scored a sacrifice, and it moves Alex Gordon up to second base. Take a look at the Twins defensively. Brian Dinkelman will be making his major league debut. Brand new outfield as Ben Revere moves to center field. Jason Repko in right. Not a whole lot of changes on the infield. Rene Rivera is behind the plate for Nick Blackburn. So an RBI spot for Eric Hosmer right away. 6 RBIs in the Angels series. He does not have an RBI yet in this one.
You know, Ryan, getting back to you just talking about Alex and how that pitch was moving away. Now, last year, the difference in those two, in that swing, then he would have rolled over on that ball, and he probably hit a ground ball to second base. This year, he tracked it and stayed back through the middle with it and squared it, hit it on the sweet spot of the bat.
Two balls and no strikes. And Blackburn relies on that movement. He is not a strikeout pitcher at all. Maybe one strikeout every 2 innings. But he will sink or swim with his sinking fastball. Two and one. Hosmer has hit in 5 straight, and he's got his average up to 297. And it seems like right now, wherever they pitch him, he hits it hard. He hits it hard to right, he hits it hard to center, he hits it hard to left.
And it really moves off his bat when he squares it up.
Got him reaching.
I did talk to him a little bit today about the fact that the last 2 games he started off by taking the first pitch fastball with nobody on him. And he's saying, well, you know, Seitzer just says, look, with nobody on, you haven't seen his fastball, and nobody on base, just go ahead and take a look at it, but it only gets you better for the next at bat. But if there's men in scoring position, then be aggressive.
Lays off that pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Alex Gordon with a leadoff single. Melky Cabrera bunted him to second base. Hit hard to Kadire. Now he sprints to the bag and runs it back to the infield to make sure Gordon stays at third. There are 2 outs. So now a chance for Jeff Francoeur to drive in a run. And we'll look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Most RBIs at home, and the Royals have the 2nd and 3rd best in the American League. Only Adam Jones at Camden Yards has more RBIs at home this year. So there's 1 out there. Francoeur 2 RBIs in this series, both of those coming on Thursday. Since the Royals haven't faced Blackburn yet this year, this will be Francoeur's first at bat against the Minnesota right-hander. Pretty good swing, fouled it back. Three hits in game 1, all were extra base hits. A couple of RBI doubles, also hit a triple. Line foul. Royals have scored only 2 runs in each of their last 3 games. The game on Wednesday, 2 runs was enough. Losses in the last 2. And the Royals leave Gordon at third base. So at the end of 1, no score. Royals baseball is brought to you by AT, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. A lot of fans walking around the Chevy tonight. Another big crowd. Over 32,000 here last night. Ball one to Delman Young. Twins got a one-out double from AT KCA and was stranded at third. Royals got a leadoff single from Alex Gordon, and he was stranded at third. That caught the strike zone. 1-1 to Young. 3 hits, 3 runs scored in the first 2 games. Still batting at just .222.
One of the difference with Delman Young this year, we pointed out last night, is just lack of extra base hits. Get some singles, but this guy is a guy that he looked to drive in runs, and he's always hitting extra base hits. A lot of like the 45 doubles last year. So they need him to really produce for this offense, for their offense to get going the right way.
Hit hard, but backhanded by Escobar, and 1 down. All 4 outs for Hochevar so far have been on the ground, so that's a good sign for him. Second start on this homestand for Luke. Pitched against the Angels on Monday. The Angels ended up winning that game late, 10-8. So Luke took a no decision. A game which the Royals led 6-1 at the end of 2 innings. And on the first pitch he sees in his major league career, Brian Dinkelman is hit by a pitch. So we love to talk about guys that hit home runs in their first major league at bat. I wonder how long the list is of guys that are hit on the first pitch thrown to them.
I mean, he just showed a lot of poise right there. Normally when the baseball's going down around your feet, you're trying to get your feet out of the way, but he just stood there and took the whole force of that pitch.
Jason Repko takes ball 1. He goes into the lineup with Denard Span being removed. Repko hitting just .161, another Twin that has been on the disabled list this year in early May, down with a left thigh injury. Really swung the bat well against the Royals last year. He is a struggling hitter at the moment. .161 is the batting average, and he is 0 for his last 10. Just missed the corner. 3-0. Three balls, 1 strike. Hochevar still among the league leaders in home runs allowed, but he has not allowed a home run in his last 19 2/3 innings. And we should point out that of the 13 home runs allowed, 11 have been solo home runs. So he's been giving them up, but he's had very few backbreaking home runs.
Well, that's solos are better than 2 and 3 run homers, and this is a good situation here for Ron Gardenhire to put the runner in motion on a 3-1 count.
Not running, and Repko pops it up. Escobar wants it. He's got it. 2 down. So Dinkelman at first for the catcher Rene Rivera. Rivera was the starter on Thursday. On base a couple of times. Scored a run, drove in a run. Former prospect in the Seattle Mariners organization, his first year with the Twins. One and one. The Twins have so many players injured, and right at the top of the list is their franchise player Joe Mauer, that apparently when Ron Gardenhire meets with the media every day, the first 5 minutes are questions answered by the trainer. First they talk about the injured players, then the healthy players. 2 scoreless for Hochevar. Tonight, looking at 3 oddball plays at Kauffman Stadium, and that's the subject of our Sprint You Call It question. What is the biggest oddball play so far at the wall? Mike Aviles, May 4th, a ball that stuck in the wall, the bottom of the padding. Heads up play by Adam Jones. That prevented a triple. The next one was the Billy Butler first rule double, then home run, which was a walk-off on Wednesday. Ended up hitting the railing behind the railing. We'll get back to the third one as Billy takes inside ball 1 from Nick Blackburn. And then Eric Hosmer thought he had hit a home run. At least the fan out in left field thought he hit a home run, but it ended up being a double. So what do you think? 1 ball, 1 strike on Billy. There you have it. Two and one. Billy 3 hits in the first 2 games, including a walk and a run scored. Remember, if you send in your text tonight, you'll get a bounce back text message with instructions on how you can register for a suite here at Kauffman Stadium for a future Royals game for you and 11 guests. We have had 1 winner, I believe, so far, and our second, make that our third, I am told by Kevin Shank, our third winner of a suite will be there up there tomorrow. 3-2 with Mike Aviles next, and then Chris Getz in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Nick Blackburn got around Alex Gordon's leadoff single in the first. Still 3-2.
Yeah, Billy hit around that pitch. If he'd hit that pitch, he probably hit a ground ball at shortstop. And he's been really working hard going back through the middle the other way. And so the sinker ballers rely on you trying to pull a ball, and that's how they get their ground balls.
And there is a ground ball right to KCA. Billy heaves his bat in frustration. 1 away. Well, coming up tomorrow, it's the fourth and final game of the series. It is a Family Fun Day Sunday, a 1:10 game. And the first 8,000 fans aged 14 and under will receive this Slugger Kids pillowcase presented by Fox Sports Kansas City. So coming out tomorrow, it's only supposed to be 65 degrees. Somewhere. I guess the hottest day is going to be Monday. Might see triple digits. Very high in the air. And AT KCA making the catch. And there are two down in the second inning. A reminder, the Major League Amateur Draft starts on Monday night. Check out columnist Steve Cameron's 5 Commandments for a Successful Draft. Our feature writer Greg Eklund's trip down memory lane. Greg recalls the national shock of 25 years ago when the Royals drafted and signed Heisman Trophy winner Bo Jackson. You can find all of that at foxsportskansascity.com. Not living here at the time, but I will count myself as one that was shocked. As good as he was in football, and of course he ended up playing NFL football, but that he did sign the contract with the Royals.
Well, I think he really enjoyed baseball. You know, when he got here, you could tell that baseball is one of those games that he really loved to play. And at first, everybody was telling him what he couldn't do, but every time you told him that, he got stronger and better, and he proved everybody wrong.
5 of 6 outs on the ground for Blackburn. By Steel. Are you ready for a steal? And by 5-Hour Energy. Fixes tired fast. One shot, back to work. Problem solved. No score to the top of the third inning. Another big crowd. Royals and Twins fans on a hot night in Kansas City. 92 degrees at first pitch. It is also MU night at Pauken Stadium. And we have a special guest up here in the booth as Luke Kochaver gets ready to pitch to Matt Tolbert and throws ball 1. Marcus Denman, Kansas City kid, MU Tiger, threw out the first pitch. Not bad. Looks like he played a little baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an athlete, so it wasn't that hard, but probably would have got sent over the wall out there.
We'll get another look at it here. And from the mound, you know, it's a very small percentage of guys that have the guts to throw off the mound. Frank has thrown out the first pitch on a few occasions, and he goes in front of the mound.
Well, I mean, he's got nice sneakers on, good grip. You know, you go downhill with these street shoes, and it could be very embarrassing.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that in front of everybody.
So it's now about the time when everybody's starting to get excited about summertime and getting ready for the next basketball season? Or is this still off time for you?
No, it's no off time. I mean, this is part of the time where players are made, and you work your hardest in the off season, which is the summertime, and trying to get better and prepare the rest of the team for the upcoming season.
Have you had a chance to spend a lot of time with your new coach? And if so, what do you think he's going to bring to the Tigers this year?
Well, the time so far has been limited because of the time he was hired and all that. But, I mean, I'm sure that he's going to bring a lot of hard work and passion to the program. I mean, he's a high person, a high character, you know what I mean? So I'm sure that everyone will get to see the Missouri Tigers in full effect, all the Missouri fans and the Tiger faithfuls.
Marcus, you mentioned the strong work character, and that's one thing that everybody in sports are talking about today when they put their team together. So, from a character standpoint, what does that mean to you in terms of pulling all your players together this year and going into this next season?
I mean, it's really important. I mean, I'm going to be one of our seniors coming in, and it'll be one of my responsibilities to help that character take off and be able to lead our team because I feel like as I go, the team will go, and it'll help us out to be successful.
That's great. Now, it's Martinez your uncle?
Yes,
Yeah, Martinez and I played together, senior at Lincoln High School.
Yeah,
I'm sure he probably talked about me and how good I was. No, but he was a great player. I mean, he was an outstanding player. Hey, something about the M in your family's name. It's a lot of
everyone's M's. Denman family, almost probably 95% M's.
I know it's just a lot. It's a lot, and but playing with Martinez. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was quick, could shoot, played great defense, and he went on to have a pretty good career.
Yep, definitely.
Marcus, did you ever come out here much when you were growing up in Kansas City?
Actually, I came to a few games, but my basketball team, we used to come out here and do like some like charity work for the Royals, and they would do like donations to us, and so I've been out here quite a bit, and I'm always rooting for the hometown.
AT KCA with a runner at third, and that drives in Matt Tolbert. So Minnesota scores first, and that's the second hit tonight for AT KCA. We're visiting with Marcus Denman. And now, are you surprised that you have the team that you're going to have this year? I mean, there are a couple guys that could have moved on if they wanted to, but decided to come back for another year.
Yeah, well, I mean, I felt that was in their best interest as well as the teams. Those are some good players that were thinking about reaching their dreams, but I feel that they'll be able to help us a lot more and help themselves a lot more with another year with us.
Marcus, how do you guys pull it together when your coach leaves? I mean, a guy that you've been with and you up-tempo game, and he sold the program to you, and you guys go out and hustle and bust it for the coach, and it's your senior year. So now you have a new coach coming in. What transition will you have to go through in that?
Well, I mean, the toughest thing is just adjusting to the scheduling of how everything you're used to doing things a certain way. And now that we have a new coach, I'm sure things are going to be different. We haven't got to adjust the adjustment period yet, but hopefully we have a smooth transition. And since we have a really close bunch,
Kansas City, Missouri resident Jeremy Haney motivates his team of friends and family across the city to collect toys for the Salvation Army Forgotten Angels program. Utilizing technology as a tool, last year Jeremy was able to collect more than 300 toys in 9 days to make sure every child had a present to open during the holidays. So congratulations, Jeremy, sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game. So Minnesota with a 1-0 lead on AT KCA's single. Strike one on Matt Traynor, followed by Alcides Escobar and then Alex Gordon. Oh and 2. Traynor started in this series on Thursday, 1 for 3 with a walk. Alex Gordon led off the bottom of the first with a single, and now Blackburn has knocked down 6 in a row, 5 of 6 outs on the ground. So that's a good sign for him. Former 29th round draft pick of the Twins out of Ada, Oklahoma, which is about an hour and a half southeast of Oklahoma City. 2 and 2. Good movement, dropping down and in. Blackburn strikes out his first. Blackburn during the offseason had surgery on his right elbow and then did not get off to a good start this year. 1 and 4 with an ERA over 5, but he has since turned the corner, and in his last 6 starts his ERA is 2.5. Ball one to Alcides Escobar.
Yeah, the Twins really have suffered as far as driving in runs, and I think even when you get those well-pitched games, if the team doesn't break the game open for you, it's a tough nail biter, and a lot of times you walk away with no decisions. But he does get deep in ball games.
Normally gets the Twins into at least the 7th inning. He has gone 7 innings or more in 3 of his last 4 starts. It was a disappointing season for him last year. He had signed a 4-year contract extension during the offseason, but at one point struggled so badly that they sent him to the minor leagues. That is a big hit and a big sigh of relief for Alcides Escobar. That put an end to an 0 for 20.
Well, take a look at this swing here. This is a nice short swing back through the middle. He got the foot down, and he stayed back. A lot of times he'll go forward, and when you go forward, it just takes your bat speed away, and you swing a little longer. But he stayed back, and you can tell when you stay back, the hands work, and the ball jumps off the bat very well.
So runner at first with 1 out. Second time through now for the Royals, and Alex Gordon. Line drive, base hit to center field, first time up. 4th hit in the series, and now Alex getting closer and closer to 300 himself at 291. Escobar runs. Alex pulls it foul.
That's a big slow curveball from Blackburn. You know, if you a right-handed hitter, you can see that base runner take off, and you can see if he gets a good jump or not. But that was a big slow curveball, and if Alex had picked Escobar right away, he might have just went ahead and took that pitch.
Five stolen bases for Escobar. He has been thrown out 4 times, and he's leaning, revving his engine, and he will advance as Alex singles to center again. Revere is on it quickly, so Alex is 2 for 2, and the Royals have 2 on with 1 out.
But not trying to do too much, just hit the ball where it's pitched. The ball's trailing away. Alex stays right with it and just goes right through the middle. And you just take a good look at here. The lower half stays back, then he rotates, hit against the stiff front side with that right leg, and lets his hands do the work.
It's only 3 hits, but all 3 hits have been line drives to center field. So the Royals appear to be really trying to work the middle against Blackburn. Ball 1 inside to Melky Cabrera.
Well, you're facing pitchers that have good sinker balls, and you want to try to hit the balls back through the middle the other way, because now you get the ball up in the air a lot more, and you hit more line drives and more balls in the alley, where if you try to pull it, then that's when you get your ground ball. That's what he wants you to do.
Melky laid down a sacrifice bunt in the first inning. And now he lines it to right. One hop to Ripko. Escobar is held at third. And a good throw comes in from right. So the bases are loaded with 1 out, and now the meat of the order coming up.
But Blackburn leaves this curveball up, and Cabrera does a good job of recognizing it and getting the hands out front and hitting his line drive to right field. He saw it, he waited, and then let his hands do the work. And this is where you got to look at Kadire. He does a good job of coming up as if he was going to cut that ball off. And that's what I mean. You keep the throw low, and that third base coach will hold that runner up every time.
And why risk it when you have Eric Hosmer coming up? Grounded out to first. His first time up. That ball was hit hard, like just about everything else he swings at. And that's lined to center field. Revere diving. He didn't catch it. Everybody had to make sure, so all runners move up 90 feet. The Royals tie the game on Hosmer's 18th RBI of the year.
Well, the game plan seems to be pretty good throughout the lineup. Just hit the ball back through the middle. It's a line drive here. Hosmer stays back. Nice short swing back through the middle. And that's it. Revere in center field almost made a great catch right here. But the base runners for the Royals did a great job on this play. It would have been easy to catch someone about halfway and get an easy force out. So they read this play very well.
And that's 7 RBIs for Hosmer during this homestand. So Escobar with 1 out breaks out of an 0 for 20 with a single. He comes around to score. And now Rick Anderson might be out there to change strategy with Nick Blackburn and catcher Rene Rivera. Trainer saw 5 pitches and struck out. Escobar 4. But then Gordon hit the second pitch. Cabrera hit the second pitch. Hosmer hit the first pitch. Now loaded up for Jeff Francoeur. 0 for ball 1. Francoeur out in a ground ball to second base in the first inning. Royals have done this so often this year. The opponent scores and the Royals come right back. One and one. We mentioned earlier runs have been tough to come by for the Royals in their last 3 games. 2 runs on Wednesday. That was a win. 2 on Thursday, 2 last night. Both of those were losses.
Well, that's why it's so important now when your team goes out and scores to put a 0 up the next inning, and that gives that offense even more confidence. If you're going to go, back and forth, then that makes it tough on the offense.
Now Francoeur down 1 ball 2 strikes. Alex Gordon with a single at third base. Melky Cabrera at second. Eric Hosmer at first. Francoeur's ground out in the first inning was his first ever at bat against Blackburn. Pretty good swing, fouled it back. Blackburn hoping for a ground ball and a double play, and Francoeur trying to force him to get the ball up.
We just got to wait on this pitch and take him the other way, and he's been doing a great job of that lately.
Two and two. Royals batting average this year is .261. That is 5th in the league. But they are better with runners in scoring position. They are 3rd in the league at .277. Line to right. Repko gets behind it. Alex tags. Here's the throw. It is not in time. Alex got around the tag. Take a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, we said Frank Brewer had to go the other way to get this ball in the air, and that's just what he does. And a good throw, the home plate, but Alex got that hand in there ahead of the throw. Repko has a great arm, got behind it. Bedai did a good job faking it. And just watch how quickly the hands gets in there. Ball's up the right field line. There's a window to the outside, and Alex Gordon takes it.
Strike to Billy Butler. And if he's watching the game tonight, Buster Posey is saying, what's wrong with that slide? Billy grounded out to short in the 2nd inning. He has Cabrera at 2nd, Eric Hosmer at 1st. 0-2. The RBI, by the way, for Frank Brewer was number 500 in his career. .35 of those this year. Curveball in the dirt. Billy swings and misses. The inning is over, but the Royals come up with 2 runs to take the lead. The Royals in front. We go to the 4th inning and take a look at the Time Warner Cable wideband internet pitch speeds. 92 Nick Blackburn, 95 Lou Kochaver. And Lou Kochaver pitching with the lead. One strike to Danny Valencia. Twins had just scored in the top of the 3rd. Matt Tolbert coming home on Alexi Casillas' 2nd hit tonight. Valencia, Young, and Dinkelman. Valencia with a runner at 3rd and 2 outs in the 1st inning. Grounded back to Hochaver. One ball, 2 strikes. Justin Morneau getting the game off, so Valencia will bat 4th. And then it was announced about an hour before the game that Denard Span had been scratched because of neck spasms. Curveball got him. And Hochevar has his first strikeout.
Good curveball by Hoch right here. This ball goes down. It's in the middle of the plate, but the depth of it is what got Valencia out front. He's really been susceptible to all speed pitch, especially down and away on the right-handed pitcher.
Strike to Delman Young. Grounded out to short his first time up. He is just 3 out of 19 in his career against Luke Hochevar. Coming up on Monday, the Toronto Blue Jays will be in town for a 4-game series, and the first night is a Royal night, which means you can purchase $5 high V level tickets. 7:10. Blue Jays and the Royals Monday. Still 0-2 on Delman Young. Lays off the curve. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And goes back to the curve. Young strikes out, and back-to-back strikeouts for Hochevar in the 4th.
A good inning for Hoch so far, Ryan. He's been able to get ahead in the count and execute his off-speed pitch and a curveball. You never know. It's one day it might be your curveball, next day it might be your slider or your sinker, but right now the curveball is very effective for him.
And Luke throws everything.
Everything.
So if something isn't working, he can just go down the checklist and find another pitch or two that might be working. 2 strikeouts with the curve, and now Brian Dinkelman. He lines it to center field. Caught by Melky, so after the Royals give him 2 runs, Luke has a 1-2-3-4. At the K, and the Royals with a 2-1 lead to the bottom of the 4th inning. So some yellow and black mixed in with royal blue and dark blue tonight. Mike Aviles, Chris Getz, Matt Trainer coming up in the bottom of the 4th inning. And on Mizzou night, wouldn't it be appropriate for Aaron Crow to get his first save opportunity? 2-0 on Aviles, popped out to short in the 2nd inning. One hop to Valencia, and Aviles is 0 for 2. We encourage you to email the booth Go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, CarSoup will ask for your zip code. So fill that in. You'll be sent to a different page and then submit your question. Joel Goldberg is waiting on the other side. So we look forward to answering your questions tonight. Hit hard. Tolbert is there at second base. So 4 pitches, 2 outs. And Chris Getz is 0 for 2. Tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox moves to Kansas, where Greg Biffle will try to win his second straight race at Kansas Speedway. Hoping to take home his first checkered flag of the year. Coverage of Sprint Cup racing from Kansas begins tomorrow with the pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 11:30 a.m. in high definition on Fox.
Local racers are doing well in NASCAR. Emporia native Clint Boyer won the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250 today. And Carl Edwards is on a world tour.
0-2?
Yeah, he raced in Chicago tonight, and then he'll fly to Kansas City and race tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Why not?
Well, he had to go back to qualify, come back here to qualify, go back there to race, then come back here to race. And he flies his own plane.
Really?
Yes.
Speaking of Mizzou night, he's from Columbia, isn't he?
Yes.
Carl Edwards. Trainer struck out in the 3rd inning. It is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Twins with 1 in the 3rd. The Royals with 2 in the 3rd. Hosmer and Francoeur driving in the runs. And Trainer, after falling behind 0-2, has filled out the count. If he gets on, Alcides Escobar is next. We'll do it again. It'll be Jeff Francis tomorrow, which means Trainer will get the hot day game after the night game off. Close, but ball 4. So a good plate appearance coming back from 0-2. And a runner at first with 2 down. And now Alcides Escobar, who was 0 for his last 20 when he singled with 1 out last inning. That got the Royals going. And they ended up with 2 runs on 4 hits.
So Matt Trainer, that's good planning with him tomorrow, having tomorrow afternoon off, and hopefully he doesn't have to play at all. Then he won't play again until Monday night, and that's like 2 days off.
Escobar singled to center field. The Royals have 5 hits and 4 are to center field. Two balls, no strikes. Taking a fastball down the middle, 2-1. Five of the first 6 outs for Blackburn were on the ground, and that was in 2 scoreless innings. And as the Royals scored 2 runs, 4 hits in the 3rd, no outs were on the ground, so the Royals were able to get him to elevate. And now in this inning, ground ball outs from Aviles and Getz. And now a line drive into the corner, but foul. Still 2-2 on Escobar.
Now, one thing that Alcides has been doing right here is that if you watch his right hip, everything's been kind of going forward at the same time with his swing. But here he stays back because the ball's on the inner half. Now, this is the pose that if he can keep this pose right here, on all the balls all the way across the plate, everything's back, hands out front, then he'll hit the ball a lot harder. But when the ball's in the middle to middle away, he tends to come off the backside, and that makes the swing longer. And then when he does hit the ball, it's either going to lead quick and die, or it's just not going to hit it well at all.
I hear it said often about a hitter staying behind the ball.
Well, just slow your body down and just let your hands do the work. Get your body out of the way. The old saying is slow body, quick hands. And that's where he's trying to get to.
Another ground ball out. It almost knocked Blackburn's cap off. The Royals are scoreless in the fourth. They lead, however, 2-1. In between innings, we know it's happened in Joplin, and maybe to help lift their spirits, the drum line from Missouri Southern entertained us in between innings. Got me fired up. I thought I was at a high school football game.
Tons of energy. I love bands. I loved them when I was in high school, and that's one of the things I love about watching college football is watching those bands at halftime.
Calling themselves the Royal Thunder. Right after the Royals gave Luke Hochevar a 2-1 lead, he came right back, got the Twins 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts in the fourth. And now he's 0-2 against Jason Repko, 0 for his last 11. Lower third of the Minnesota order, Repko, Rivera, and Tolbert. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and two. Here's the Royal Thunder. Got a nice big ovation from the big crowd here tonight. Not something you normally hear at a Major League Baseball game, unless maybe you're in Oakland.
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys in the outfield and have a drum section out there. Popped up. Both Aviles and Escobar calling for it. It's Escobar's play. Repko is 0 for 2. We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. Alex Gordon with 2 hits and a run scored. He is on his way. Royals would like to see many things tonight. A taste greatness moment and a breakout game on offense. They had scored only 2 runs a game in their previous 3. They'd also like to see a taste greatness moment from a starting pitcher. Left field. Alex is there. Rivera got it down around the end of the bat. And there are 2 down in the 5th inning. Rivera's 0 for 2.
I think the one thing about pitching is that you really have to take advantage of the well-pitched games, and then you have to, as a pitcher, when the game is not, when you don't have your best stuff, you got to figure out how to at least get it to a quality start and then turn it over to someone else. But when you start leaving the game in the 3rd or the 4th inning, there's just way too many innings and too many outs for the bullpen to cover. So that's when the pride factor comes in. You say, hey, look, this is my job, because you're starting pitching is supposed to be the best pitchers on your staff. So if they can get going and get deep in the game and start building some momentum, then I think the offense will come along with it.
Coach Shavers retired 6 in a row. Matt Tolbert doubled and scored leading off the 3rd inning. AT KCA getting him to the plate. Good pitch in on his hands, and an easy play for Chris Getz. So another 1-2-3 inning, and now Coach Shavers retired 7 in a row. And it is Willie Wilson bobblehead night. There's the Willie Wilson bobblehead. And in our AT&T trivia question, we ask you, who are the 3 players to have more stolen bases than Willie Wilson during Willie Wilson's career? Only 3 players had more stolen bases at the same time as Willie Wilson's major league career, which was 1977 and 1994. Writing yours down?
My brain is trying to engage.
Nice diving play by Brian Dinkelman, making his big league debut and taking a 3rd hit away from Alex Gordon. Here's Brian Dinkelman's family here from Illinois watching his first big league game. He has been hit by a pitch and lined out in his first 2 plate appearances.
This is just all out effort right here, and when you're a young player coming up, this is the kind of effort that managers look for, and you just got to take advantage of the opportunity that you're getting right now.
Eighth round pick in 2006 out of McKendree College. Do you know where McKendree College is?
No.
Neither did I. It is in Illinois. Melke 1 for 2 with that line out to Kadire, and 2 away in the 5th inning. This and every Wednesday, it's Ink Student Night and Local Music Showcase. Get a $7 game ticket, pregame happy hour specials, and enjoy one of KC's best bands. This week, music from the Grizzly Hand. Before the Royals take on the Blue Jays at 7:10, the gates will open at 6. Eric Hosmer taking a strike as Blackburn got 2 outs on 3 pitches. Hosmer drove in the tying run in the 3rd, and then Francoeur's sacrifice fly put the Royals in front. Hosmer 1 for 2, but even his out was well struck. He has hit in 6 consecutive games and is batting at .301. Lays off the changeup. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another base hit. Even when he's off balance, he still hits the ball hard. So another base hit into center field for the Royals tonight.
And what he does, his lower half can go, but his backside, his hands stay back. I'm saying his upper body and backhands, and his hands stay back, and that allows him to have enough energy and enough bat speed to hit the ball out. So you can watch his lower half separate as if he's looking for the ball inside. His hips will open up quick, but then he's got enough arm length and plate coverage to be able to keep the ball in the middle of the field. So the good thing is when his hips open, his hands do stay back, and he's able to recognize that pitch away and hit it away, which is an unusual way to hit.
Big swing by Jeff Francoeur. 6 hits for the Royals tonight, 5 line drives to center field. Francoeur's sac fly in the 3rd inning put the Royals in front, and it was a milestone RBI, number 500 in Francoeur's career, a career that began in 2005. Hit hard and past Valencia. Hosmer going to try for 3. And Dinkelman gets it to the cutoff man rather than throw all the way through. So with 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals have back-to-back singles.
Now a pretty good read by Eric Hosmer. Francoeur, this ball's coming into his bat, and he just takes it right into left field, hard on the ground for a base hit. And Hosmer did a good job reading this ball on the ground and never hesitated at second base. He ran all the way to 3rd. Very aggressive. He knew right away as soon as that ball got through the infield, he was off and running. The ball was rolling flat to the ground. He wasn't moving fast, and he had a chance to get to 3rd, and he took advantage.
So 1st and 3rd for Billy Butler. Late movement, it caught the outside. Billy grounded out in the 2nd, struck out in the 3rd. Blackburn got him with a slow curveball. So Billy back down below 300. That pitch stayed up. Boy, he wanted to do more with that pitch. Fouls it away.
Well, he really hasn't had good swings to this point, and this is the best pitch he's had today. And that's the pitch that he usually drives to right field, right center field, and he got under it a little bit too much and popped her up. Well, this is where Blackburn likes to use the slider.
Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nick Blackburn has not lost in his last 7 starts. And Billy in the air, left field, playable for Dinkelman. And that's the inning. The Royals lead 2 in the 5th. tonight, and let's go over to Joel.
All right, guys, got a bunch of them. Let's start with Steve Luzzum from Leawood. On average, how many pitchers does a Major League Baseball team have? Usually 12, sometimes 13 is the answer there. Heidi Peters from Scottsdale, Arizona says Eric Hosmer has a slugging percentage of .514. What is slugging percentage? And it's actually really easy to figure out. If batting average is hits divided by at-bats, slugging percentage is total bases divided by at-bats. Single being 1 base, double being 2, on and on. Here's a question for you guys from Mark Searles in Kansas City, Missouri. And Frank, you could definitely talk about this. I know Paul Splittorff was a Royals Hall of Famer, but what made him such a great pitcher, guys?
Well, I would just think that it's preparation and it's determination and just his consistency from year to year. And I think that's what makes any pitcher. He's mentally tough. He didn't have the greatest stuff, but he was able to move the ball in and out, change speeds, and he just knew how to pitch. And some guys have trouble when they don't have that blazing fastball. They have trouble making it through. But I would say his mental toughness, his consistency, and his preparation.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Ben Revere. 2 ground balls to second base for outs for Revere. Leading off as Denard Span was a late scratch, and it's still 3-2.
Here's an interesting question, and I don't think any of us have the answer, but it's a dilemma that Ned Yost will have coming up in a couple of weeks from Glenn S. in Kansas City, Missouri. What do the Royals do with Hosmer and Butler during interleague play? He's talking about when they go to St. Louis, San Diego, and Denver. They'll have a little bit of a problem there trying to get both of those guys in the game.
Leadoff base hit for Ben Revere. So good speed at first for Minnesota. Only the second time they've had the leadoff man on. Well, that is a very good question. What do you think, Frank?
Well, it depends on how innovative he wants to be. I mean, Hosmer probably can play left field, but I think it's just going to boil down to if he's not wanting to put him in a different position and keep him at first base, then it's probably going to be Billy Butler sitting and coming off the bench to pinch hit.
Remember, the Royals took some heat when Eric Hosmer played in the outfield during spring training. He was taking some fly balls, and everybody that was connected to the Royals knew that Hosmer was a very good first baseman, excellent defensive first baseman, and he has shown that and then some since his call up. But now all of a sudden maybe that doesn't look like such a bad idea if you want to get both of those bats in the lineup, because I think, and I don't know this for a fact, but if anybody would move, and I'm not saying it will, but if anybody did move, I would think it would be Eric Hosmer. I don't think you're going to play Billy anywhere other than first base.
That's the only place.
But then again, who are you going to take out of the outfield?
It just depends on who the pitcher is. If they've got a right-hander that's really tough and that got good sliders, you can always move Frank Cooler.
KCA picks up his 3rd hit. And Minnesota has 2 on with nobody out. KCA drove in the Twins' run back in the 3rd.
Well, he definitely does have Luke Koshaver's number, Ryan, and this is a nice bunt, and you just got to do it. When that ball goes down the line like that, you got the first baseman comes down, the pitcher goes over. But that's an excellent bunt. You know, coming into the game, KCA was 4 for 10 against Luke coming into this game tonight, and he's got 3 hits already.
So 7 out of 13, and 5 of those 7 hits have been extra base hits. And now Michael Kadire, who has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Way outside, ball 1.
Yeah, no, it's Tony La Russa. He would do something interesting. You can never pinpoint exactly what he would do, but he would probably go by the pitcher on the mound and who's got the highest batting average against certain guys, and then he'll try to look to get both guys in the lineup. But I think as it stands right now, the Royals are very happy with Hosmer at first base, and I don't think they'll tinker.
Joel, I've got an outside-the-box idea. Beginning tomorrow, I would start listing Alcides Escobar as a switch hitter. And he doesn't bat left-handed at all, but when we get to the National League games, Hosmer doesn't start, Billy does. But when Escobar comes off the field, he takes his uniform off and he gives it to Hosmer. who then goes up and hits in the number 9 spot.
And then how about Hosmer and Escobar switch uniforms with everybody else in the field and they play defense for them too? That's not possible, is it?
I mean, I can't tell those two apart. Can you?
No. Look like twins.
Hosmer might have to shave. Two balls, 2 strikes. Remember the old Miller Lite commercial with Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson?
I love
both playing for the Orioles, and
I love those commercials.
whole commercials trying to convince everybody that they're not brothers, even though they have the same last name. Curveball hangs high. If it did, that may have buckled Kadire and home plate umpire Chris Guccione.
Well, anytime that batter flinches, he cannot swing, and you can see those knees buckle down, and there's no way to swing on this pitch, and this is what you call getting frozen by a breaking ball.
Runners go, and it's grounded to short. So that was the right move for Minnesota. Of course, that's always a huge risk, because if you get a line out, that's a triple play. So not only do the Royals only get 1 out, but they get Kadire, so 2 runners in scoring position. Coming up on Thursday, the Royals and the Blue Jays will play at 3:10, and fans can purchase all-you-can-eat seats, which include all the hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, pretzels, and Pepsi products you can handle for one low price. If you'd like more details, go to 1-800-6-ROYALS, royals.com/all-you-can-eat. Inside to Danny Valencia. He is grounded out and struck out. An opportunity here for him to bat 4th with Justin Morneau getting the game off. Joe Mauer on the disabled list, Jim Thome on the disabled list, Jason Kubel on the disabled list, and he has 2 runners in scoring position. And Hochevar makes a good pitch on the outside corner, 1-1. Revere at third base, KCA at second. So just about anything to the outfield is a guaranteed 2 runs with that speed. And it's grounded to Hosmer. Minnesota will get 1. Valencia picks up his 27th RBI, and the game is tied.
Well, you take a look at this ground ball to first base, and Luke kind of went a couple steps off the mound, but that's one of those plays where he's got to really bust it to get it over there, just in case Eric bobbles the ball and he's got to feed him.
So runner at third for Delman Young, who is 0 for 2. Bounces it off the plate. Long run in for Aviles, and no play. Minnesota takes the lead.
But just not much you can do about this ball here, man. This is got everybody in no man's land, and the ball hits in a great spot, and there's no play, and being 2 outs, KCA is moving on the play.
And that brings up Brian Dinkelman. Outside ball 1 is called up from the minor leagues. This is his major league debut. Hit by the first pitch that he saw as a major leaguer. Just hit him on the front foot. And then lined out to center field in the 4th. On defense, he made a diving play in the 5th on Alex Gordon. 2 balls, no strikes. Out of McKendree College in Illinois. He broke several NAIA offensive records, many of which were held by Randy Velarde, the former major league second baseman. Twice named the Region Player of the Year. and first team all-conference 4 times at McKendree. Going the other way with Young running, and Delman Young will try to go to third, and Alex's throw is late. So Brian Dinkelman gets his first major league hit. Mom on the right, dad in the middle, wife on the left.
So that's my husband. That's a good piece of hitting right here. Fastball down the middle of the plate, doesn't try to pull it, stays right down on it, and line drive in left field.
Well, good for him. All those bus rides.
Oh boy.
All those bad ballparks. Well, you can't say that anymore. Minor league ballparks are beautiful these days.
Well, a lot less meal money.
5.5 years in the minor leagues.
He's probably got 4 guys living together.
So first and third now for Jason Repko, and it looks like Nick Blackburn might be done. Anthony Slamma has been warming up in the right field bullpen all inning. Blackburn at just 80 pitches. Repko has popped to short twice. He is 0 for his last 12. One and two. You talk about injuries. Jason Repko, man, first round pick of the Dodgers in '99, and he has had some serious injuries, which has cut into his playing time. On the DL this year with a left thigh injury. He had surgery on his left thumb during the offseason. Grounded to Escobar. He'll go the short way. Dinkelman is out. Inning is over. Now Minnesota is in front by 1.
Kearney, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Mary will win $1,200. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Mary will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And in a Chevy call to the bullpen, it's Anthony Slamma, who pitched in 5 games for Minnesota last year and making just his second appearance this year. Recently called up from AAA Tuesday against the Tigers. An inning in the third scoreless. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. So Nick Blackburn is out after 5 innings, but he qualifies for the win as Minnesota got 2 in the 6th, and now it is 1-1 on Mike Aviles. So the Twins go from a 29th round draft pick to a 39th round pick. That's when they picked up Slamma back in 2006 out of the University of San Diego. Tough angle for a right-hand batter. A couple of years after that, Slamma was the Twins minor league pitcher of the year. Two and two.
All right, take a look at this delivery here. Watch how the arm comes. Tell me if it reminds you of anyone. Just the arm coming through, the way the ball reacts. Kind of reminds you of Doobie a little bit. But just
yeah, the little arm cock.
Little arm cock. Yeah. And the ball doesn't sink as much, but similar.
And a leadoff walk. Not what Slamma and Ron Gardenhire had in mind. Right away, the Royals have the tying runner at first with nobody out. You know who he reminds me of a little bit with the arm angle and the way he wears his pants is former Royal Paul Byrd.
Oh, good call.
But we don't have a Slamma nest here at Kauffman Stadium. But if you're unruly, they might throw you in the Slamma.
Oh boy. Clink.
Mike Aviles 8 stolen bases this year, only thrown out once. Good bat control hitter at the plate, and Chris Getz 2 ground outs so far tonight. Aviles flinching over at first base. Slamma hesitating, trying to get the legs heavy for Aviles.
They're just holding the ball, vary your looks. You don't have to be as quick to the plate if you just vary your times and hold the ball and let the base runner settle down over there.
And now ball 1 to Getz. So Rivera will go out and talk to Slamma. Well, the Royals did it in the 3rd inning. Minnesota scored. Royals came back with 2. Now the Twins have scored 2. And the Royals are trying to answer. Aviles got a pretty good jump. Rivera's throw is not in time. So 9 stolen bases for Mike Aviles.
Well, he got a great jump here and just kept his head down, and the throw was down the line just a little bit. On the bag, it would have been a closer play, but you see where KCA had to reach forward. Whoa. And that's a very, very good catch and tag right there. But I don't think Mike Winters can see that from where he's at.
Yikes. That's a stolen base in more ways than one. 2 balls and 1 strike on Getz. You know, I wonder if KCA hurt himself by falling forward for that throw and then reaching back. And I'm just trying to go to some of the things that you've taught us over the years about, you know, kind of letting the ball take you to the bag as opposed to going to the ball and then reaching back for the tag.
Yeah, he could have used a little short step to the ball. You see him, he just sort of got flat-footed and he had to reach, and then that's what made him come forward. If he takes one step, then he makes that play a lot easier for himself.
Now 3 balls, 1 strike on Getz. 3-2. Eight stolen bases, by the way, now is the team lead for the Royals. Slap foul, and we'll do it again. This July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7 p.m. only on Fox. Soft liner going to be caught by Tolbert. So 1 out, and Aviles has to stay put at second base. Jim Hoey and Phil Dumatre warming up in the Minnesota bullpen.
You know, that's an at bat right there with Chris Getz. When the count went to 3-1, that was a good count for him to try to bunt the ball. You know, he's one of those guys that can't pull when he really wants to pull. So you have to make sure you get the job done, and that would have been a good count for him to try to advance Mike to third base.
Matt Trainer has struck out, and he has walked. A well-earned walk after falling behind early. No balls, 2 strikes. And now pitching coach Rick Anderson wants to go out and chat with Anthony Slamma.
I think a lot of times players, if they would sit down and reevaluate what kind of player they are and what they bring to the team, what the team expects, and then in cases like that, you'll know, okay, my strength is being able to bunt. So you utilize that in those key situations, and now you're valuable all the time. But when you try to pull and don't get the job done, then it's almost like you're hurting yourself and the team at that point. So I think a lot of players don't really know a lot of times what kind of player they are. And I think that's one of the things that getting with your manager and your hitting coach and trying to figure out, okay, what kind of hitter am I? What do you expect from me as a manager? And then just kind of go from there. I go to spring training every year, walk in the manager's office and say, what do you expect? And then you just go out there and play.
Way outside. So after the visit, Slamma is way out of the strike zone, and now 2-0 on Matt Trainer. And we were discussing about how he would be tough on a right-hand batter, but he's having a tough time throwing strikes to the right-hand hitters. He's thrown 15 pitches, only 6 strikes. Very shallow right field, long run in for Repko, and he runs it down. So Aviles at second base with 2 outs. And we will answer tonight's AT trivia question. It's Willie Wilson bobblehead night. During Willie's career, 1977 and 1994, only 3 players had more stolen bases during that time span than Willie. I wrote down Ricky Henderson, Tim Raines. How about you?
I wrote down Ricky Henderson, Amos Otis, and Vince Coleman.
Hey, hey.
There we go.
Frank White. Aviles beating the pickoff throw from Slamma. And now Alcides Escobar broke an 0 for 20 in the 3rd inning with a single and a run scored, and then grounded back to Blackburn in the 4th. That gets away from Rivera. So a wild pitch puts Aviles on 3rd base.
Let's take a look at Rivera here. Now, this ball's going to be down, and you see him reach way out to his backhand side, and that's a recipe for disaster right there. You see the glove turn up. The ball has nowhere to go. So he's better off to turn his glove facing the ball and then try to block that ball back out in front of the plate.
One and one. Trying to bunt for a base hit. Down 1-2 Well, there you go right there, Frank. There's a player that, even though he broke an 0 for 20 in this game, he is a 207 hitter, not swinging the bat well right now, so find some way to get that runner in from third base.
Yeah, you got to look at those guys on the corner and see where they're playing, and I think that's where the key is right there. And if he's playing back, you can bunt, but if he's playing in front of the bag a couple steps, then you got to be a perfect bunt. And then at the same time on a drag bunt, then Michael Vilas, he's got to know what you're doing. So if he gets a late break on it, then he still works. It could work for the Twins. But if Valencia's in down and deep on the grass, then I don't know.
Way outside, 3-2 strikes. Well, Slama might not be around for it, but he'd rather get a decision with a 207 hitter and leave Alex Gordon on deck, who has 2 hits tonight and is creeping close to 300. Escobar.
Well, I agree with you.
At ball 4.
Yeah, that's where he's got to go after him here. He's got to make something happen on this pitch. If Escobar gets a base hit, then he gets a base hit. But if you walk him and bring Alex to the plate, now you're really asking for trouble.
Mike Aviles, leadoff walk, stole second, went to third on a wild pitch. Struck him out. That pitch was way outside. So it was a struggle, but Slama throws a scoreless 6th. Can in Frank White's hand. The official soft drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. You'll never sacrifice taste for 0 calories again. New look, same great taste, 0 calories. Pepsi Max, maximum Pepsi taste. So Luke Kochaver trying to give the Royals 7. He has only thrown 86 pitches, so in good shape. He has a so-called quality start already. And a bunt laid down up the third base line, and it stays on the grass. Rene Rivera, and you can't blame the Royals for being caught off guard there. Number 8 hitter and a catcher, and he lays down a perfect bunt.
Well, you said the magic word, perfect. I mean, this ball is just about as fair as it can go without rolling off the edge of that grass and going foul. And I mean, you can't bunt a ball any better than that. They should give lessons.
That's the play we've been talking about with Wilson Bettamy, where, you know, that ball stayed fair, but Mike Aviles knew he had no play, so he just waited and hoped that maybe he would take a left turn. It did not, rather than pick it up. Matt Tolbert doubled and scored in the 3rd inning and popped out in the 5th. Runner goes. Twins trying a hit and run, and it's fouled away. Now Lewis Coleman warming up in left field, which is not underwater. Otherwise he would need a snorkel or an oxygen tank. Runner goes again, and it's lined, and that's a fair ball. Alex plays the bounce very well. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. That's the 2nd double for Tolbert. He's had quite a series, although this is nothing new for Matt Tolbert. He always seems to hit well against the Royals, and he has 2 more hits tonight.
Well, he just really doesn't try to do anything special. He just, the ball's going away, he hits the way it's going, and he's able to keep this ball fair. So back-to-back hit and runs by the Twins, and they've got a 2nd and 3rd no-out situation.
He's hitting .400 against the Royals this year. He's about a .350 career hitter against KC. And in this series, he is 4 out of 6. Outside, ball 1-2. Ben Revere. If you weren't with us earlier, Denard Span was a late scratch with neck spasms, so an opportunity for Revere to play center field and lead off. He has a single and a run scored, and now trying to drive in a run. And he broke his bat. He gets it past Escobar and into center field. So a run scores to make it 4-2. The handle of the bat stayed in Revere's hands. The barrel, and what could have been very dangerous, went spiraling above the Royals dugout on the first base side, and it looks like everybody's okay.
Yeah, he hit this ball in a good spot, just out of the reach of Luke Hochshaver, and just right up the middle and just out of the reach of Escobar at shortstop. Now Tolbert did a good job going back to the bag on that line drive, but he could only advance 90 feet because it was a line drive and almost got caught.
So Revere can smile because he drives in a run. 1st and 3rd, still nobody out, and now AT KCA, who is 3 for 3. And here's a player where you have to be alive for a bunt. And he has a bunt single tonight among his 3. Luke Hochshaver is searching for ways to get him out. 7 out of 13, and 5 of those 7 hits are for extra base hits, and this is not a hitter that hits with power. Ball 1 low. A bunt single, a double up the left field line on a hit and run, and a broken bat base hit, and a run home for the Twins. Taken inside 2-0.
I can see it had very little movement at the plate. He almost lets the pitcher make commit to where he wants to throw his location, and then he just tries to use his hands. But it looks like he's seeing the ball very well.
Slice to left. Alex to the wall and almost runs through it. It is a foul ball, 2-1.
Well, that's the ball right there that Alex got to know. Once he hits that warning track, how many steps he has before he hits that wall, because he can't get up over it. So he just wasn't committed one way or the other on that play, and kind of stumped his toe a little bit. Well, that could have been on your lips kind of play right there.
Of course, I'm worried about the wall. I mean, Alex and the wall are built of the same material. Twins, by the way, have 10 hits and 6+ innings against Hochevar. And this is a Twins team that was batting .238. .238 as a team when this series began. But on Thursday night, 10 hits. Last night, 11 hits. And now tonight, 10 hits and 6 innings plus 3 batters. They might be coming out in a bad time for the Royals. Grounded foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
With a different Twins team, you don't have to sit there and depend on Mauer and Morneau at this point. You got a lot of young guys, a lot more speed in your lineup, and you can kind of give you an idea with the back-to-back hit and runs of the kind of baseball the Twins probably will play for a while.
Revere runs, KCA grounds it foul. This is more like the Twins teams. They didn't have as many young players as they do now, but the Twin teams in the Metrodome didn't have a lot of power. It was more stealing, hitting and running, going first to third. And then Mauer and Morneau arrived. Michael Kadire developed. Jason Kubel developed. And then all of a sudden they weren't running. They were hitting home runs. 3-2.
And the good thing is Ron Garnhart, he's the one that's got to recognize what kind of team he has now, what he's got to go forward with for a little while. He's got to stop watching his hand. He's timing the pitcher to the plate. Time to catch his release to second base. So he's got all these numbers in his head, and that kind of helps him when he decides whether to straight steal or hit and run.
Hochevar thinking that Revere might run again, and he might, but he wasn't fooled by that move. And he does run, and KCA lines it to left center field. Revere will keep running. It is 5-2 Minnesota, and Alexi KCA is 4 for 4, and now 8 out of 14 in his career against Hochevar. And that was Luke Hochevar's last pitch. So a 2-run 7th, first and third, nobody out, and it'll be Lewis Coleman in a Chevy call to the bullpen, and he will get Michael Kadire. With the Royals down by 3. You can stay connected to the Royals on Twitter by following @Royals. For breaking news, instant game discussion, and special discounts, there's no better place. Follow @Royals today. A strike from Lewis Coleman to Michael Kadire. So Coleman holding the league to a 183 average. He has stranded 10 of 13 runners, which is important here because he inherits 2. And he's ahead of Kadire, no balls and 2 strikes. Luke Hochevar in his first 5 innings gave up 1 run, 3 hits. He had retired 7 in a row. And then Minnesota scored 2 in the 6th, 2 more here in the 7th, and there's still nobody out. He's still on the hook for Revere at third base and Casilla at first. Kadire was 0 for 3 against Hochevar, 3 ground ball outs. One of those was a double play. Still 0-2.
Well, the Royals are playing back in the middle, so they are playing for a double play. Now in the corners, they have a decision to make on how hard the ball's hit. Is it hard? They've got an option to go home. If it takes Michael Bealer to his left, he'll go for 2. And Hosmer at first base, he's got to make a decision too. If he got to go to his right, he's probably better off to just go to second, try to get the double play. But if it's directly at him, he might have a chance at home.
That's a base hit to left field. It wasn't well hit, but well placed. 6-2 Minnesota. So 2 in the 6th and now 3 in the 7th.
It's down and it's away, and Kadire is so strong he was able to go out and pull that ball back in the left field. That's a good pitch by Coleman, but he found a good hole in between third and short. And we see Revere scoring on the base hit.
So 10 hits, 11 hits, and now 12 hits in the 3-game series for the Twins. Remember, this was a .238 hitting club coming into the series. Danny Valencia batting 4th for the first time. 0 for 3. He does have an RBI with a ground out. Did he go? No. Corey Blazer is the umpire at first. Although we got to teach Corey, you got to hesitate for a while. You got to allow the cameras to get a shot. But he was fired up. He said no swing, and then the hands back down by the sides again.
He'll learn.
Sliced up the right field line. And Francoeur runs it down and falls down, and in doing so a second runner moves up. There was nothing Francoeur could do about Casilla, but Kadire was just going to be a bluff move until Francoeur fell to the grass.
Well, he caught this ball in good shape, and it's almost like he didn't really have. It just got caught in between where he wanted to throw it. I mean, either he didn't know whether he wanted to throw it home to be ahead of the runner or throw it to second base and keep the double play in order. So he got kind of caught in between, and your feet paid the price for it.
So second and third, one out, infield in. And Delman Young, very shallow right. Casilla, good speed. Francoeur, good arm. But the speed isn't that good. I don't know if Gerard Dyson even tries to come down from third on that fly ball. So Coleman makes a good pitch on Delman Young, and there are 2 down.
We can kind of look here. The runner third always going to bluff hard. He wants the outfielder to come up and try to make a throw and hope he throws it away.
And how about the respect shown here for Brian Dinkelman in his first major league game? Got a base hit last time up, and now the Royals will walk him, and they'll pitch to the right-hand hitter Jason Repko. Dinkelman hit by a pitch in the second inning. There's Dad saying, boo, come on. So they're loaded up for Jason Repko. Repko 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for his last 13. Pitch riding inside for ball one. KCA at third is still the responsibility of Hochevar. And Kadire and Dinkelman both reached against Coleman. Grounded foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking earlier about Jason Repko and some of the injuries he's had. First round pick in '99. He got a concussion that year. In 01, he broke his back. It didn't heal properly, so they had to break it again so it would heal properly. Ankle injury in 06. In 07, he had 2 hamstrings reattached to his pelvic bone. Man,
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
And then left thumb surgery during the offseason. And why not? I mean, after it all, it is Jason Repko up there.
I mean, he's almost like the Bionic Man. You know, he said, I mean, those are some serious surgeries he's had. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I've seen a foul ball hit there before. That hurts all the way up here in the booth.
Oh boy.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, on the other hand, you can say Jason Repko loves baseball.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of guys could have walked away after those type surgeries. I mean, a re-breaking of the back and attaching the hamstring to the pelvic bone. I mean, that sounds pretty serious stuff.
Well, he does have the reputation of being a gamer, a guy that plays hard, and there is no manager out there who doesn't want a player that plays hard, but guys who play hard at times will pull muscles, injure themselves diving, slamming into walls, colliding with other players. He strikes out, so Coleman comes on, allows 1 inherited runner to score. Minnesota. 1 run, 4 hits, and a couple of RBIs for AT KCA. And we'll call him tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
Well, and rightly so, Ryan. He came into the game hot against Holshaver and just kept things going. In the first inning, there was a double to right center field, and he came up again in the third. Got an RBI single to right. Then in the 6th inning, he went all the way the other way. A little drag bunt up the first baseline for a base hit. And then in the 7th, another base hit to right field to drive in another run for the Twins.
New pitcher for Minnesota, Phil Dumatre. First year with the Twins, 8 appearances, good ERA. He has walked 4 in 6 1/3 innings. And the Royals with left-hand batters coming up, beginning with Alex Gordon. Dumatre, back in 2000, was the Boston Red Sox first-round draft pick. 1-1 on Alex. Singled in the first inning, singled and scored in the third. So he is up to 293. First time he has faced this left-hand pitcher. Two and two. Dumatre has been to the big leagues with the Pirates before this year. And the last time was 2009. Just missed outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So on the edge of another walk, and he doesn't want to do that. He has a 4-run lead, but Minnesota just scored 3 in the last half inning. Alex rolls it to Tolbert, and there is one away. Melky Cabrera, 1 for 2 tonight. We were talking about Jason Repko last inning. Phil Dumatre also has had to overcome some pretty serious injuries to get where he is today. First round pick in 2000, Tommy John surgery in 2004. On the disabled list twice in 08 because of problems with his left shoulder, and then in 2009 he had his shoulder operated on. And now 3-0 on Melky Cabrera.
It's amazing what they can do with surgeries today. You know, back in my day, you had some kind of surgery on your shoulder, you pretty much called it a career.
I mean, nowadays, you have Tommy John surgery, it's like getting a tooth pulled. I mean, those guys come back from that all the time. So 1 on, 1 out for Eric Hosmer, who has 2 more hits tonight.
Swung the bat really well. Stayed in the middle of the field, got him a base hit in the third with an RBI, and then he came back and did a good job of waiting on an off-speed pitch and hitting that hard up the middle in the center field also.
He has hit in 6 in a row. He takes ball 1 outside. 50% in our Sprint You Call It question tonight felt that Mike Avila's ball stuck in the bottom of the wall was the biggest oddball play this year. The other 2 have come in the last 5 games. So thanks for voting tonight. Hosmer is batting .307. And Dumatre with 12 pitches, 3 strikes, so he's lucky to have 1 out. Two and 1. Fastball up at 93 miles an hour. 307 overall for Eric Hosmer, but he has had his problems this year against left-hand pitching.
Well, that's the pitch that he sees real well. Is up in that window where you see the ball. Well, you think you can hit it, but you can't hit it. But it looks like a cantaloupe coming up there in that window, right above your hands inside, and they'll swing at that pitch pretty much all the time.
Ron Gardenhire immediately out of the third base dugout. So Dumatre gets the two left-hand batters. He walks Melky Cabrera, and with Jeff Francoeur coming up, another pitching change for the Twins. It is Jim Hoey. Here in the bottom of the seventh inning. So big group here in the right field corner, and you can take your group out to Kauffman Stadium, and if you do so, you will save big. That's because groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. For tickets, call 816-504-4040 or visit Royals.com. The Royal Thunder is the Missouri Southern drum line. So here to warm up the crowd, Missouri Southern horses in Joplin. So Jim Hoey with the runner at first and 2 outs. Big numbers, 10.45 ERA, and the league hitting .400 against him. So he comes on with a runner at first, and he gets a right-hand batter with Minnesota in front by 4. Fastball runs up there at 97 miles an hour. Opponent's batting average of .400 against Hoey, but if you break it down between lefties and righties, lefties hit .400 against him and righties hit .400 against him.
Oh my
So
goodness.
he's not stronger one side or the other.
He just needs some luck.
Melky runs, and that pitch almost knocked Rivera into the crown seats. Melky picks up his 6th stolen base of the year.
He does a great job just keeping this ball from going back to the backstop. A good reaction by Rivera behind the plate.
The official score said no steal. Why isn't that a stolen base? Now they just corrected it. It is a stolen base. And a good fastball at 98 gets Francoeur. The Royals are scoreless in the 7th. American League brought to you by Panera Bread. Oakland scored 4 in the 9th, but Boston wins in 14. The A's have lost 5 in a row. Tampa Bay puts an end to a 3-game losing streak. Texas in front of Cleveland. Hamilton and Cruz with home runs, and if Texas hangs on, the Rangers will be 12-3 since they came back from the disabled list. Toronto at Baltimore. The Orioles are out in front on Mark Reynolds' grand slam. Chicago's won 4 in a row. They're getting closer to 500. And it's the Yankees at the Angels. They are just in the 2nd inning. And another tune-up for Joakim Soria in a 4-run game. Pitches to Rene Rivera, who fouls it away. And Rivera opened the top of the 7th inning with a bunt. Minnesota in front by 1. Number 8 hitter and catcher laid down a bunt. Caught the Royals off guard, and that was the beginning of the Twins batting around and scoring 3. They've scored 5 of their 6 runs in the last 2 innings.
Well, those first 2 pitches from Sawyer, Ryan, are just what we'd like to see from him, what we expect to see from him, and it's what we've seen from him in the past. It's right on the outside corner. You know, just 2 consecutive fastballs.
Pitch in the game on Thursday, 6 up, 6 down. And the slow breaking ball is cut off by Escobar. Plenty of time with Rivera running, and throws him out. So since being removed as closer, Joakim Soria has retired all 7 batters that he has faced. Talking to pitching coach Bob McClure before tonight's game, and discussing with him some of the things that you and I talked about on Thursday about when Soria first burst onto the scene. I mean, he had great life on his fastball as it was. It was natural life. He wasn't trying to manipulate the baseball at all. But his fastball just had late break. It seemed to gain velocity rather than slow down as it approached the plate. But then started throwing that cut fastball last year, and well, he saved 36 in a row, so you can't argue with that, but maybe became a little too dependent on that pitch, and now kind of going back to his roots, control, and back to the 4-seam fastball, and allow for the ball to move on its own. Don't try and manipulate the movement.
Well, that's good advice. You have to go back to ground 1 to get yourself restarted sometimes, especially when you've never had problems at all. And I think with Soria, the thing that was just more glaring was the fact that he was always pitching from behind. Where you know, in the past, he's always pitching from ahead. And when you pitch from behind, you'll get a chance to use all your other pitches.
That's a pitch right there. I mean, it's 90 miles an hour, but that you can see it just slowly riding into the left-hand batter. I mean, it wasn't straight at all.
And that's all deception right there, and that's just good mechanics, getting through the pitch to the plate, just having a direct line to the plate. Don't spin off. Keep that shoulder closed as long as possible. And there you go.
Same pitch. So it's got, we just talked about that the other night. I mean, he has the natural cut, meaning for him, a ball that will break into the left-hand batter away from the righty.
Well, I think the one thing about him is that if he doesn't show his chest too early to the hitter, then they won't pick that pitch up.
The rare low throw that Hosmer doesn't dig out. And it'll be a throwing error on Alcides Escobar. And for Escobar, just his 4th error of the year.
Well, you see right here, he just really did just let up on this throw. That's not a typical Escobar throw where he let that arm drop down like that. He gets on the top and then plays his play all the way through. But he just threw this down the ground right from the beginning.
And now a strike to Ben Revere, who was going to bat 6th and play in right field. Then Denard Span was scratched because of neck spasms. So Revere leads off. He has 2 hits, 2 runs scored, an RBI, and an 8-game hitting streak. Gonna have to hurry, and the Royals get 1. Wasn't hit very hard, and Revere is very fast. So the Royals get Tolbert at second base, 2 outs. A strike to AT KCA, who has 4 hits tonight, tying his career high. It's the 2nd time he's had a 4-hit game. 6 out of 11 in the series, and has added 24 points to his batting average. Changeup rides away. 1-1.
You can really tell the way he took that changeup that he's really seeing the ball well tonight, and he's not overcommitting to anything. Changeup, he stays back, tracks it into the glove, and they just stand back and use his hands tonight.
One and 2. Souvenir for a young Royals fan. Sipping on a cold drink on a hot night in Kansas City. 92 degrees at first pitch. Plays off the changeup. 2-2. Twins scored all 6 of their runs against Luke Hochevar in 6+ innings. 11 hits. One of the runs scored after Hochevar came out. Lewis Coleman with a scoreless 7th inning, and now Soria in the 8th. Minnesota scored in the 3rd. Royals got 2 in the 3rd, so they had a 2-1 lead until the Twins came up with 2 in the 6th inning and 3 in the 7th. The last time these two teams hooked up, Frank, the Royals outscored the Twins by 17 runs, and now in this series, Minnesota has outscored the Royals by 13 runs. Past Soria, and Escobar to first, and Soria has his 3rd consecutive scoreless inning. Sorry about that.
continues to follow the progress of Joakim Soria. Highlights, reaction, and we'll take your questions as well. You can text them in 432-432 space keyword live. Give us your name and where you're from. We'll answer some of those coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Brian?
All right, thanks, Joel. Bottom of the 8th inning on Mizzou night at Kauffman Stadium. 6-2 Twins. Jim Hoey stays on for the 8th. He faced one batter in the 7th and struck out Jeff Francoeur. So Royals fans, Twins fans, Tiger fans here tonight. We had Marcus Denman here with us in the booth back in the 3rd inning.
I don't know.
No, we did. Billy Butler, Mike Aviles, and Chris Getz coming up here in the 8th inning, and Billy rolls it to first. Kadire calls off Hoey, goes to the bag himself, and Billy is 0 for 4. Nick Blackburn went 5 innings. He gave up 2 runs, 7 hits, only 80 pitches. So it seems strange that he came out that early. And then last inning, it was announced that he came out after 5 because of a stiff back. So Anthony Slamma, Phil Dumatre, and now Jim Hoey trying to get the Twins through the rest of the game. Twins have almost as many blown saves this year as they do actual saves. 10 saves, 9 blown saves. 2 balls and no strikes on Aviles.
You know, right, the Twins pitching continues to pitch the way they pitched, and they've got a different type team on the field. They got much more speed on the field. And tonight you saw a lot of the imagination of their offense with the 2 bunt singles and stolen bases, the 1st and 3rd, hit and runs. So they play on a different brand of baseball. So this could still be a fun season for the Twins going forward.
Aaron Crow on Mizzou night, getting ready to come on for the top of the 9th. Now I say Slamma, Dumatre, and Hoey so far have gotten the job done, but it hasn't been easy. Anthony Slamma in the 6th inning walked the leadoff hitter and was falling behind the hitters. Dumatre gave up a walk, but also got a strikeout and a ground out in the 7th. And now, after 1 out in this inning, a 4-pitch walk. And Aviles walks for the 2nd time tonight. Not what Rick Anderson is used to seeing. The Twins are 10th in the American League in walks. Usually it's the Twins and everybody else as far as fewest walks in the league. So that stat right there is a huge sign that the Twins aren't themselves. A strike to Getz. He thought that pitch was a little high. Rick Anderson pitched briefly with the Royals and at AAA Omaha. Also pitched with the New York Mets. Timeout had been called. Getz has grounded out twice and hit a soft line out to second base. One and one. Aviles starts and stops, and it's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, you can really see the arm. James Hoey, anywhere from 96 to 98 since coming on in the 7th inning. Another pitcher that has come back from both elbow surgery and shoulder surgery. And still throwing hard. That pitch at 97, and it's 2-2.
And he really hadn't thrown many actual strikes, and I think that's the one thing that throwing 97 to get you. You get hitters that chase pitches they don't normally chase, but just getting him back in the strike zone, making him more efficient, that's what he hasn't been so far tonight.
3-2.
Wow.
Originally out of the Orioles organization. Drafted out of Rider University in Nevada. And KCA goes out to the grass in left field. 2 down. Fourth and final game of this series is tomorrow at 1:10. Jeff Francis and Brian Dunsing, the former Nebraska Cornhusker. Royals Live begins at 12:30. Tomorrow is a family fun day Sunday. And remember, the first 8,000 kids will get that Royals pillowcase presented by the Royals in Fox Sports Kansas City. Matt Trainer 0 for 2 with a walk. 97 miles an hour in for a strike. You know, when you played, and if somebody had Tommy John surgery or rotator cuff surgery, I mean, that was a big deal. You didn't know if that guy was going to be able to come back.
And that was actually Tommy John. And Tommy John had a great fastball before the surgery, and so did Frank Tanana. Both those guys had to revamp their pitching style. They had to go more to maybe what Jeff Francis had to do. They had to go fastball, lost a lot, had to go back to change up. Tommy John went to the sinker. Frank Tanana went to a lot of slow curveballs. So they had to change their whole way of pitching, where today guys come back throwing even harder. They must get that ligament from someplace else now.
Really, the biggest concern now is the time that will be missed. But right here, James Hoey, Tommy John surgery, shoulder surgery, and he's throwing heat. There have been some pitchers who have had Tommy John surgery more than once and have made it back to the big leagues. Tommy John surgery, of course, there is a ligament in the elbow that just does not heal when it's torn, the ulnar collateral ligament. And in the past, before Tommy John, when that ligament went out, you're done. And then Tommy John asked his doctor to just invent something. He wasn't ready to be done, and so the ligament was taken out of a wrist, transplanted into the elbow. He was able to come back, have a long career.
You know, Ryan, Tommy John really made a great turnaround just learning how to pitch. And 2 years after his surgery, he won 20 games.
Another walk given up by Hoey, so 2 on, 2 out. And Ron Gardenhire pacing in the dugout, and now comes running out of the dugout to make a pitching change, as the Royals are one batter away from bringing the tying run to the plate, and that batter would be Alex Gordon. The Royals need to get Escobar on base to get that far, and Escobar will be facing Alex Burnett. tying run would come to the plate. Now Cedes Escobar is 1 for 3 tonight, putting an end to an 0 for 20 back in the 3rd inning. And after Jim Hoey walked 2 batters in this inning, it's Alex Burnett to face Escobar, Minnesota's 5th pitcher tonight. With 1 out, Mike Aviles walked, and with 2 outs, Matt Trainer walked. So it will be Burnett and Escobar. Escobar 1 out of 3. Now he has faced Burnett twice before tonight, and he's 2 for 2. Another Twins pitcher that's had difficulty throwing strikes at times this year, and that's a little bit high. 15 2/3 innings, 10 walks. One and one. Royals trying to get more than 2 on the board tonight. If they come up with no more offense tonight, it'll be 4 straight games that they've scored only 2 runs. On Wednesday in a shutout, that was enough for a win.
That's true if you got the right pitcher. Now that you're right, you can win a 2-0 game. But you know, if Escobar can get a base hit right here and bring Gordon to the plate, then it'd be a different ball game.
A high bouncer to the right side. Tolbert has it, throws him out, and the Royals are scoreless in the 8th. Of their runs in the 6th and 7th inning. And on MU night at Kauffman Stadium, it is only appropriate that Aaron Crow appears in the game. He is at the moment the Royals closer, but he has not had a save opportunity. Here are the MU Tigers in the majors at the moment. Aaron Crow, Max Scherzer, they were teammates. Ian Kinsler now playing for the Rangers.
Well, we take all those on one team. That's all those guys are having very good years. Kinsler got to get his average up a little bit more, but he's still dangerous on the fastball.
Foul ball. Aviles plays it anyway, so a strike on Michael Kadire. Aaron Crow, the first MU player to pitch for the Royals when he made his major league debut. That was on opening day against the Angels. Out of Washburn Rural High School, then crossed the state line and went to Mizzou as a junior in 2008. Was 13-0. First round pick of the Nationals that year, did not sign. And then the Royals first round pick in 09. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kadire 1 out of 4 with an RBI single. He has driven in 4 in the series. He homered last night, and that was his 18th career home run against the Royals, and that's the most for him against any team. Belted to left field. He has 19 home runs against the Royals. And Minnesota takes a 7-2 lead. 5 runs driven in this series for Michael Kadire.
Ryan, you take a hitter like Michael Kadire, you know it's only going to be a matter of time before he starts straightening things out. And this is a fastball at middle in, and he really knew right away as soon as he hit this ball that it was where it was going. But he lost a little protection in the lineup, and things have been a little slow for him. But he's just too good a hitter to be where he was.
It was very early in the season, Frank, but still. Couple weeks into it, the Royals were in Minnesota for a 2-game series, and Michael Kadire was hitting 107. And then a few weeks after that, the Twins were here. He was batting .235 and now moving up on .270. It is 0-2 on Danny Valencia.
He's got a lot of hits between then and now. Right now his hands are working very well. He's just got a nice easy swing, and it's 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and the ball jumps off his bat.
Crow comes back with a hard slider and strikes out Valencia, who is 0 for 5. And now Delman Young, who is 1 for 4 with an infield single and an RBI. Nasty slider.
Very good slider.
Back with the same pitch.
Yeah, it's good to be able to repeat the same pitch twice, and there he is right in the same window with the same results. Well, Delman Young is just a high fastball hitter. He doesn't miss many high fastballs.
And then back with 97 miles an hour. Aaron Crow began his big league career going 15 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings, which was a team record to begin a career without allowing a run, and then gave up a home run to Oakland's Cliff Pennington. Was that a swing? It was. First base umpire Corey Blazer knocking out Delman Young. So after the home run, back-to-back strikeouts.
That's that good hard slider. Before you realize what it is, you've already committed most of your swing. And Delman Young, bat head came forward. Strike 3 for Crow.
Many frustrated Royals fans have gone home, and that's thinned out the ballpark. Minnesota fans remain and are chanting "Dink goal men." So you get one big league game, you make a diving play, you get your first big league hit, and a team that has been hit so hard by injuries, they're just trying to find somebody to hang on to. That's his wife, father, and mother left to right. Now they're chanting MVP. Right now the Twins have 8 players on the disabled list, and they've had 13 disabled list moves this season, just a little bit past the first third of the season. Much of the dismay of the Brian Dinkelman fan club, Aaron Crow strikes out the side. Kadire, but then strikes out the next 3. So the Royals down by 5, and Jose Majares will pitch tonight. The Royals have top of the order Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, and Eric Hosmer. Majares appeared on Thursday night and pitched a scoreless 7th inning, and he faced those same 3 hitters. Striking out Alex Gordon, walking Melky Cabrera, and getting Eric Hosmer to ground into a double play. Two hits for Alex and a run scored. Got him with a high slider. On Wednesday the Royals scored 2 runs. On Thursday they scored 2 runs. Last night they scored 2 runs, and only 2 runs so far tonight. At one point tonight the Royals led 2-1. In fact, they led 2-1 from the bottom of the 3rd until the top of the 6th. It's been all Minnesota since then. 2 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and 1 in the 9th.
Well, Ned, you also talk a lot about those add-on runs after the 6th, and those are runs that usually determine the game. So anytime you get additional runs, you give yourself a real good chance of winning the ball game.
It has been a back and forth season series. In April, the Royals were in Minnesota. They split a 2-game series. Then here in May, the Royals swept the Twins, outscored them by 17 runs in 3 games. And now Minnesota trying to win the first 3 of this series. And they've outscored the Royals by 14 runs. Alex down on strikes, 1 away in the 9th. Well, with everything that's happened in Joplin, our Chevy play of the game tonight, the Royal Thunder, the Missouri Southern drum line of the marching band, entertaining the fans a couple of times tonight. So that'll give something to smile about, which I'm sure has been very difficult in the past couple of weeks. Fans appreciating what they've done tonight and where they've come from. They've gotten a couple of nice long ovations, and now they can just kind of kick back in the right field corner and watch the end of the game.
Well, music does help. It kind of brings people together, and I think these kids here, you know, being from Missouri Southern, they probably got a strong bond. They probably work out every day, and they say, hey, you go into Kansas City to play in Coppell State, they probably jumped all. They still haven't landed on the ground.
Melky tonight has a single and a walk. Also has his 6th stolen base. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Francis tomorrow against Brian Dunsing. A couple of left-hand pitchers that are 2 and 5 this year. Dunsing's been tough on the Royals in the past. And then Monday, the Toronto Blue Jays come to town. Royals are in the middle of their longest homestand as far as games all season long. 11 games in 11 days. Royals have another long homestand in September. Or make that late August. And they will play 9 games in 11 days. Second hit for Melky Cabrera.
The Royals offense continues to try to mount rallies. The guys go up there, they put up good at bats, and it just seems like when you look around, there's always men on base, but just get them across home plate has been the problem.
Hosmer to left field. Cabrera was running. Catch is made by Dinkelman. So Eric Hosmer 2 out of 5 tonight with an RBI. And the Royals are down to their last out.
Yeah, with 1 out, that was kind of risky to run right there because the line drive, then it would have been over. Normally you wait till 2 outs, and I mean, there's a base they're going to give you anyway, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where a line drive will be 2 outs.
Right now you need base runners.
Definitely.
So Maharis and Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning. And now Cabrera runs. They will give him second base. No stolen base. Francoeur's RBI in the 3rd inning was number 500 in his career. 1 ball, 1 strike. 500 RBIs with the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, the Texas Rangers, and now the Royals. Hit hard to center field and deep. Revere with his speed is able to run it down. So the Twins have won the series. And they will go for a 4-game sweep tomorrow. 7-2 Twins. We'll be right back.